Anonymous. This story occurred in the early 70s in the state of Guerrero, in a town named Tlapehuala. In those days there was a small canteen almost on the banks of the river, very close to the main road. The most beautiful girls in the area worked there, all of them from the Sierra de Guerrero with colored and blonde eyes. Many people came to this inn, including police and military. This canteen was very popular. One rainy night around 10 p.m., there were few customers and they were about to close. It rained very hard with a lot of lightning, and the air was blowing mercilessly. Suddenly the door opened and everyone saw a man standing in front of it. After a few seconds and the scare passed through the noise, one of the girls told the stranger that they were going to close. The man, without saying a word, entered very slowly and stood in front of the girl who spoke to him. This guy wore high leather boots to his knees, very shiny and clean, even though there was mud outside. But even so, they were completely clean. He wore cowboy pants, leather belt, long sleeve shirt, hat, boots and all black. He only had a buckle and the buttons of the shirt, which were gold. Also, he didn't seem to be wet from the rain. He was very tall and thin and white skin and he had a whip tangled around his waist. This stranger imposed respect and fear for his presence. Everyone was nervous and scared by this stranger. The girl who spoke to him before told him again in a fearful voice that they were about to close. To which he replied that he had heard her the first time. Without knowing what to say, the girl remained silent and again the words of the newcomer were heard. How much did they all earn in one night, including the owner with everything in business? Without knowing what to say, they went to look for the owner of the business, of whom I will omit the name, and I will refer to her as the boss. Upon entering, the owner of the salon saw this strange character stop watching the few customers who were still in the place. Those hurriedly took their drinks to retire. After a few seconds of observing him, she says, "Good night, sir. Welcome, but excuse us, we are about to close." The visitor answers, "Yes, I want you to close for tonight and these gentlemen to retire, but you will continue working until dawn. I want you and your wives to take care of me during this time and I will pay you very well." All this while he demonstrated some gold coins that he gave as an advance. The boss and the girls, seeing the money, were encouraged to attend to the stranger, and obeying their orders they fired the customers who left without saying a word and closed the door. This is what those customers comment. After they left, nothing was known, so I will tell you the story of one of the girls who stayed that night, and this was known long after. None of them wanted to say anything since 3 of their colleagues committed suicide a few days after that night. For her part, the boss never said anything, would evade questions and got very upset when they asked about it. She was terribly afraid to remember that night since it was the last time that Canteen worked, since she closed it forever and dedicated herself to working on other things. The story of this girl is as follows. That night after closing the canteen we were left alone with the stranger. He would ask us for the most expensive drinks and for each drink he would pay us with gold coins. We formed a line and he gave us 3 gold coins each. We were a total of 11 women including the boss. Also for each dance he gave us the same to all. But his condition was that all the money he paid us we would deposit it in one of the big clay pots that were there. There were 4 pots in total and towards the end we would distribute the money in equal parts. We all agreed, even the boss. So he spent the whole night drinking, dancing and even got involved with 3 girls. Those same ones who ended up committing suicide. For a moment he sat near the bar and asked us things about the town, about the whereabouts of some people there. He even gave us the impression that he knew the people he was asking for, but he also asked things that for me made no sense. For moments I didn't understand what he was saying. It was as if his questions didn't make sense. He realized and just laughed at us. It would be like 3:30 in the morning when I realized that the 4 barrels were full of gold coins, and the boss was only quiet and watching. I asked her what was going on, and she said with a lot of fear, "Did you already realize that the barrels are full of gold?" To which I happily answered that yes, that I was very happy about that, but she told me in a low voice, "And how do you think he's doing this? He can't bring so much money in his pants pockets. Also, look, even though he drinks, he doesn't drink alcohol and hasn't even been to the bathroom since he arrived." This filled me with terror. I didn't know who he was. I told the boss that it was true. He only put his hand in the pants pocket and took out a lot of gold coins and paid us all. Moments later, the boss asked me who had brought the kitchen pots, but I didn't know what to say. Then she told me that that man was the devil and that he was there with us. I almost went to the bathroom when I heard this, and I realized that he turned to see us and asked us, "What are you murmuring over there? The party is here, so come to me." I was dying of fear. The boss told me to bring more tequila to the table, and so I did. And he with the same. He took out coins and paid us all. I no longer wanted to receive the money, and the party continued for a few more moments. Like that at 5 in the morning, he said, "It's time for me to retire. I really liked being here. I will come for you and take you to a very special place." He just finished saying this when he opened the door for the first time. But on this occasion there was a huge horse that waited without making any movements. That animal seemed to have fire in his eyes and seemed to throw smoke through his snout. Then he started to smell sulfur, and the stranger got up and said, "Remember that I will come for you, you are mine." He went walking and smiling in a gurgling tone and mounted the horse, but doing this he clearly saw how his legs grew at the height of the horse and in such a way that he only lifted his right leg and was mounted without more effort. Then the horse went galloping at an incredibly fast speed, and we realized that the horse's helmets gave out sparks at the start of the race. We just kept quiet standing at the door watching as the rider moved away and got lost in total darkness. Breaking the silence, the boss told us, "Girls, you are very drunk and tired. Stay here to sleep, and when you get up we will distribute all the money." My friends and I were scared to death because of what we witnessed. We didn't want to go out on the street, and we agreed to sleep there with the boss. Like that, at 1 in the afternoon I heard that she was waking up, and I also got up. The 3 girls with whom the man got involved said that they couldn't sleep and that they felt very bad. That they only wanted their money and go to their house to attend to them. We all gathered in front of the pipes to get the money, but we realized that there were no gold coins in there. The only thing we found was horse excrement and that horrible smell of sulfur that came out of all the pipes. Seeing that, we got terrified and started crying, screaming, and some praying. The boss confirmed to us that it was the devil who was with us, and began to talk about what he had already told me in the morning. That it was a lot of money to have it in the bags. The alcohol that did not affect, and more things that she realized was not normal for a common person. After that, everyone went home and the boss was left alone since she lived in that place. We never worked again, and that canteen was never opened again. Days later I realized the suicide of the girls. They had killed each other almost the same day, and nothing was known about that place anymore. This has been my story. And I swear to you that it really happened.